And at times, you are going to have those students who like not, because a lot of us was there at times, didn't went to school, was like fed up, was like, so we kind of understand. And you like, if what I know now, if I know it then, that's why I'm teaching you. That's why I'm giving you what I'm giving you.
Exactly.
What do you guys think?
As for me, I was kind of doubting myself at first as far as being a
Got some
barber.
questions, D?
You got questions on
No, I got Adam asking me, telling me he due for his haircut though.
that?
Adam, we got you.
She
Come
gonna
Hey,
in.
Adam.
She gonna get to you tomorrow, Adam. But come to find out that I'm in my element with this barber instructor thing. Like, you ever have a feeling like you're exactly where you need to be at in your life? Like, you exactly at that point.
Yes.
Like, this is where I need to be at.
It
This
feels
is
it
this is
feels
what
it
I
feels
do.
right. It
Yeah,
feels right.
this is what I do. It just clicks. Besides the students calling me the Sarge and drill sergeant and stuff like that, I love it. I absolutely love it. This right up my alley right here.
Yeah.
I can do this.
It,
So
it just feels right.
yeah,
I mean, I wake up in the mornings like I want to go to work.
yeah.
I'm ready to see the students. And contrary to what a lot of them think, when you have to discipline them, that's when they don't like me. They
That
don't,
tough love.
Yeah. But this industry, I think, is an option, and I think it's something that every barber student should consider and talk to the instructors and start doing things while you're in school to be ready.
I definitely, was questioning myself the first day
You
when
was?
I was on my way to do my papers. I was driving and I was like, Lord, what am I doing? This is a drive. This is, I'm missing extra money at work. Is this? I was questioning my decision.
Cursing everything.
But when I got to school that first day and got to get out on the floor and help, and everyone's like, man, where have you been?
Clicked right in.
I was right where I needed to
That's
be.
right.
Yes.
But that's
It
the
was-
dedication that you're putting in, just having to drive an hour and a half to come to school. You know what I
Right.
mean? So you're not.
That was a long hour and a half, the
Yeah.
first one. I was like, oh, Lord, I'm out here in the woods. I've never been here before. Where am I?
Definitely in the woods.
I don't know why people think that the earth just stops at Knoxville and everything after Knoxville is just
Yeah.
sticks and dirt roads. I don't know. I don't know why they think that, Rob.
I have no idea. You gotta pass Morristown to get up here. So, it's
Yeah,
like
but you passed
Morristown.
Morristown in like a minute.
Yeah, it's
Oh,
like
there was
Morristown
Morristown.
on the-
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, you blink, you're out of
They
Morristown.
think it's just dirt. Morristown's up and coming city. Johnson
really
City
is.
the Tri-Cities is a prosperous city.
But this is one thing I noticed at the school with like some students, some pick it up like really fast, and then some you got to really work with. I remember there's a few that I met at Craig School, like their first haircut they just started sweating, and sometimes like you got to take the clippers from them, but at one of them I held his hand like, man, you ain't got to be this nervous, man, just calm down.
So
So
good.
But when you started school,
yeah.
you was that same
Yeah,
way.
I was that same student.
Yeah.
I was sweating, my back sweating, nervous. But it takes time. But you got to have patience with the students. That's the number one thing. You got to have patience
That's
because
right.
Yes.
some students, it's just like anything else. Some people pick up things a lot faster than others. So that's one thing I did notice being with the students at the school.
I mean, but it's love. I mean, I wouldn't trade it for nothing. I like the way everything has unfolded, and every time one of my toughest things, and I was thinking about it the other day, one of the most joyous things for me is seeing a student sign up, and then one of the toughest things is seeing them go, because I'm like, man, but I'm ready for them to go and enjoy this journey of being a barber, but it's also sad.
Yeah.
It's also sad where you're like,
That'd probably be the hardest part for me. I'm an emotional person, so if I ever get to the point, if I ever get to the point I open the
know,
school
Rob
and I got
J.
one graduate, I'm liable to tear up. You know
I
what I'm
mean,
saying?
but that's good. That's showing
you
your
know,
investment, and that's
because I seen how far that like one of Craig's students, I seen him. He was working at a restaurant, and I know he's in the barbershop doing well now. So that's big stuff to me. So
yeah. I mean, it's just you're like, man. And the time, go ahead, Shay.
And I never really thought, and this is surprising a lot of people, like even my family, because they know how I used to be like back in the days and stuff like that, and they looking at me now like, you are educator, you are educator,
You for real?
I mean, it's like, wow, she's an educator. It just overwhelms me, you know what I'm saying? That I'm helping somebody else get to the point that I was at. It's crazy.
Mhm.
I mean, that's that, but that's the important, and that's educators around the world, educators around, and
Yep.
everything with educators, they're educators for a reason. They're educators for a reason, and a lot of times we get the most flack, we get the most slack, but we still have to come
That is
back the next
correct.
day and just
And keep it pushing.
and keep it pushing
That's right.
and pour as much as we poured the day before in them. And you can't hold it personal. You can't take it personal because you set an example.
And it's one thing I want to say too. Like just becoming an instructor and learning out of that book. That book taught me a lot about
Yes.
how to deal with different people. It's just it teaches you so much that you can actually grow as a person from the instructor book. And that was one thing I really got from becoming an instructor is like learning, like you just learn about different personalities, different learning styles. It really helped
Yeah.
me grow as a person becoming an instructor.
To be honest, and I'm not gonna to be honest, right? I wish at times that the students would have to do the Milady book and the instructor book at the same time. Because I could see just reading the instructor book that so much they will be able to understand who they are. Because like you said,
Yes.
the book teaches you who you are and how to learn, how to be better. But 1,500 hours is not enough time to do two textbooks. You know what I mean? Some people would probably frown upon that. If I know I was going to school and this is a college course, what it is, because barber school is a college course. You have to take one textbook, the Milady, and then you have to take the extra textbook, all at the same time. I think that would deter a lot of students.
Some and this is from me going to school, a lot of guys come in and said, "What do we need this book for? I thought we was cutting hair."
Right.
And and you could tell those ones, they had to take their theory test 4 times
Right.
because they was like, "I don't need this book." But there's lots of things that you need out of that book.
And I tell people all the time, if you could understand the textbook from the front page to the back, the whole textbook inside out, your income is astronomical.
True.
If you can figure out that textbook, know it in and out, from your first day coming in to the last day you leave, know all those chapters, your income is astronomical because it teaches you every facet of how to be a master barber. And I think most students probably they probably get to about 40% of it. And then they skim through the rest, just study to retain to pass the test.
You can't do that with the instructor, but with the instructor, I'll tell you that right now. You can't do that. You can't do it with that. You got to study that to pass that test because that test is not no joke.
Oh, yeah.
You might can do that with the barbering, but not with the instructor. But you really got to put your work in.
You got to invest.
Yeah.
I mean, when you go to that next level, you should want to invest because you're going to be giving people education on the next level,
Yeah.
teaching them how to understand that book. So you have to really give your all.
Yeah, whoever wrote that test, they made sure of that.
so again, what is? And I know like the podcast is around the world, around the country, all through the Caribbean, in all counties in Tennessee, from the East Coast, West Coast, up north, down south, everywhere. So someone who's listening to this podcast, what would you say to them about being an instructor? Why should they be an instructor? What would you say to them? Because a lot of students are going to start thinking now. Because what we doing, we pushing the envelope till you'll start thinking beyond the chair at an early age. Coming into the industry.
I would basically tell them that you should want to be an instructor so that you can give back the stuff that you've learned, things that you've been taught, and you can put your own little your own little spin in it as far as your own personality and the way that you teach, because we all teach different ways.
Yes.
But we all come together. It's like a whole. It all comes together. You may teach one way, I may teach another. Craig teach another way.
Yeah,
Rob and
everybody.
Brittany teach. We teach different ways, but it's all for the same purpose. So I would encourage a student to go be an instructor for that reason.
I mean, for me, it's just like, I got a story behind me, and like I like to share that with the students.
Hmm.
And sometimes, like, they might have a story that can help the next person. You never know how far they done came or what they did in their life that somebody can relate to. So that's what I tell them about being an instructor. You might have something to offer the next person that can really help them out in life.
Each one teach one.
Yep.
Exactly.
I would say to someone that wanted to be an instructor, what I would say to them, what I would say to them would be to really think about it. Really think about it. Um, because if you're like, oh, I just want to do that basically for selfish reasons, like, oh, I don't want to be behind the chair. It's too much work behind the chair. You're in for a whole other rude awakening, because this job isn't for everybody. Like, this job really isn't for everybody. You need to think about that, because you are working with adults that
Who've had
need
their
your help.
own life experiences, and
They don't
Yeah.
seem to, some of them don't seem to understand, that there is a tact to things.
Right.
We're really having to rehabilitate and help rehabilitate adults sometimes. And that's hard, because you
Absolutely.
you see yourself in their position, and you're like, man, I'm blessed to be here. What can I do to help you? But that sometimes takes people a long time to understand, because they will argue back with you. They will fight against you sometimes. But it's so rewarding seeing their growth.
Yes.
It's so
Yes.
rewarding knowing that you help someone completely change their mindset, completely change the path that they're on, from being possibly something destructive and, you know, harmful not only to themselves but to other individuals around them, to see that flip to someone that's now career minded, that's community minded, that's, you know, family minded, and not just that egotistical me, I'm going to get my bag regardless. I mean, a lot of people are like that, and this industry can help people. There's something I like
Hmm.
to say is, make your hustle legal. Make your hustle legal, because you can make ungodly amounts of money in this industry if you work it right.
And another thing, being an instructor, I know that I've had clients and stuff to leave and move and go other places and stuff like that. But seeing them 3 students leave last week, I was kind of really sad about
It
it.
hurts. It
It,
hurts.
I
it
was
it
I
is.
was
It
like,
is. You
Yeah.
do get sad.
I
You
got
love
attached to
them.
them.
Yeah, you do. You
I'm
do.
used to seeing them
You
every
love
day, and I
Yeah.
them.
was like,
Because you played an integral part in their development.
yeah, I was
Even
really
in
sad about
just
that.
I would say just the 3 weeks that I've
Yeah.
been, I was like, when I come to school yesterday, I said, dang,
Then I did,
they gone.
Yeah.
This
you
will
know,
be my
you
third
know,
graduation, and I'm already telling myself, but you can't cry. You can't cry,
you get
because I
attached
will.
to
I
your
get
students.
so attached to them, and spending as much time as we do with them for, sometimes over a year. It's like losing a friend. It's
Yeah,
like my best friend just moved away.
yeah,
My
Yep.
best friend
And
just
then
left me.
seeing how they started and the progression that
Yes.
they've made, not only in barbering,
Yes.
but in themselves
Yes, that
too.
growth, that
yeah,
confidence that
Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
blooms,
Seeing
that
when they were struggling, you just help
yeah,
them out, and then they don't
yeah.
look over their shoulders no more.
Right.
Their hands is not
not
shaking.
shaking
They're
They
like
not
not
before.
dodging
sweating.
haircuts.
Yeah, like it made me so proud one day. Like a student, he looked at me, he said, "Look, Rob, I got this technique from you," and that made me smile on the inside when
Don't
when
cry,
he said
Rob.
that. No, hey, I'll cry. I don't want them. Man,
Don't,
I ain't gonna
don't
hide
cry,
behind
Rob.
mine. It'll come down.
So
Let it
once
out, Rob.
there's several ways that students can practice while they're in school, because what a lot of barbers, they have problems talking in front of crowds. They have problems in orating themselves, and they get nervous. So when you're instructors, that's some things you have to do. So one of the things that we we put in place in the school is each one teach one, and what it is it's a format for students to be their own expert in anything, whether it be music, whether it be marketing, whether it be how to build your own shop, and they have to do research and come on Friday mornings and talk about it. What that does is give them confidence. It's easier to do something with your peers that you know, who you're around every day, and it just prepares you for maybe to be an instructor one day. And that's why I implemented that, just to give them a vote of confidence, to show them, hey, you can teach, you can share your knowledge with your peers. What do you guys think about that? And what other things that can they do to prepare themselves while they're in school?
When I started, I'm real good with one-on-one, 30 minutes at a time. You in my chair, we
Right.
can chop it up all day. And even just coming here this morning, I was like, oh no, I'm nervous. Because when I had to stand up and say, hey, I'm Darlene, this is where I'm from, I was shaking on the inside.
No,
You
you wasn't.
was, you was, she was.
And
shaking.
on the outside.
No,
Definitely.
you was not. You was not shaking. I don't believe that.
She's like, I'm a little nervous, but
But I'm gonna do this. I gotta do this.
Right.
But that's something for me that I'm constantly working on. Being with all of the students and saying, hey, come here, come get involved with me. Listen to what I'm saying for somebody who's a one at a time, 30 minutes at a time. So that's something that I'm working on too. Communication. Communication is necessary in all aspects.
You can't be like that around Craig, though. He gonna bring it out of you.
Why am I'm right here?
he gonna bring it out of you. He like, Shay, I know you still nervous. Come on, I know you still nervous. Let's go. I was like, okay, all right, let's go.
That's part of it.
It's very much part of it. I've been working with him for 3 years now, and pushing my comfort zone is something that I have learned to like enjoy. Really.
Yeah.
What do you think, Rob?
Like,
Just preparing yourself. What kind of things can you do to prepare yourself while you're in school to maybe be an instructor?
I mean, you gotta go outside your box. Like that's what was taught to me. Like when I'm not the type of person I like talking around people, or I'm very I was shy. I mean, not shy, but antisocial. I really didn't talk to people much. And
Introverted.
yeah, like my drug counselor in prison, this is what he told me. He said, "This is what you need to do." He said, "You need to start going outside the box, talking to people you normally don't talk to, and then you're gonna be okay." So that's what led me to me having a barbershop and doing what I do today, because like I'm able to speak to everybody that comes to my barbershop just from what he told me and how I stepped outside the box. And I really start talking to people in the prison I never talked to. So that's what got me to really my shop doing really well.
Yep.
Because I mean, I talk to everybody.
So
carry
Rob,
on.
did you know how to cut before you became went to
No.
barber school? Or
Oh no,
No.
we was freestyling in barber
Yeah,
school.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, me and her was in barber school together, and not to throw shade at the barber school, but we didn't have like all our instructors was older,
Oh, okay.
so we pretty much had to get it on our own.
Oh,
Learn
okay.
from each other. We
Learn
learned
from-
from each other. YouTube really wasn't
Yeah,
a thing,
yeah.
for the haircutting yet. It hadn't got that popular. So we was definitely, you picked a student that, oh, that looks good. Let me
Yeah,
watch him for a
let me
minute.
go over here and sit beside him, see what he's doing. Yeah.
Yep.
That's one of my favorite things about students, though. Like you were saying, they gravitated towards each other. That's one thing that I love about our lab floor is, especially the more senior students, they're not afraid to go up and be like, "Hey, let me help you. Let me give you a little tidbit on that." And
A
they're
little
not
nugget.
afraid to do that. And I think that also helps them with, even if they wanted to be an instructor, because if you can teach something, you've pretty much mastered it already. If you can learn something enough to turn around and show someone else how to do it, you're on your way to becoming a master at that point.
And another nugget, and I know sometimes it's hard for people coming into school. What you have to do, you have to learn to separate yourself from the student.
Yeah.
So a couple of ways you have to separate yourself from the student: your dress, hanging out with them. You can't want to teach students and say you're going to take a smoke break with them. You can't want to teach students and say you want to go and party with them, because there's going to come a time when you have to set some boundaries on that floor, and it's going to be harder for them to respect that,
Accept, yeah.
accept,
Accept what you're
respect
saying.
that fact.
Yeah, what they call it, fraternizing.
I
But
know.
yeah. I mean, yeah, I agree with that. You could, because you got, sometimes you got to get with some students about certain situations. So, and they won't respect you if you don't, if you're hanging out with them as a friend and going out to eat with them and stuff like that. So, I agree with that.
Yeah, even though you may personally like the student,
Yeah,
like on a personal level or something like that, it's
yeah,
still just best not to even go there like that, because it's mixed signals.
Because the student has to realize who's the instructor.
Right.
If you come in and the student doesn't realize who the instructor is and who the student is, you'll never be able to get through to them,
yeah.
and your credibility is going to be gone, because students, they're learning, but they're watching their instructors every day. They're watching to see if you're knowledgeable with information, if you prepared information properly, if you can cut hair, if you have experience outside the shop. Everything, they watching your every move, because they want to know, can this person teach me what I need to know?
Right.
Are there people in the school to be able to teach me what I need to know? So you have to prepare yourself too as well. You have to be in a position ready to give proper information.
That was one thing that I noticed first starting, like my first day. Everybody was real like, who is this? What is she doing? And as soon as I put them clippers in my hand, they was like,
Mm.
"Ooh, where are you going? Why are you leaving already?"
Yes.
On the first day I was there, after a couple of days, Craig was telling me like, you can't think on that level no more, Shay. You're not on that that barber level, hanging out with everybody, having fun. Craig was basically like, you're not you're not that no more. So you got to think differently, a little bit higher now.
Yeah,
Step your
Craig
game
was
up.
on. He was
He
on.
was on me.
Yeah, he was on me about wearing a tie, like but the good instructor book, it will teach you that you got to set yourself apart, like as far as the way you do dress and stuff, like it will tell you that. Now I still struggle wearing a tie though, but other than that, I'll try. I'll set myself apart and try to dress nicely.
And because we love the students so much, and it's easy to fall in the trap of saying, man, that's this and that. And then because they looking for your downfall as well. They're looking to see you in a comparable position where they can be like, oh, I saw Miss Darlene over there and she was doing this, and then you can't even teach at that school no more.
Yeah,
Right.
Oh, I saw Miss Shay doing this,
Right.
and it's just gonna be more difficult. Oh, I saw Mr. Rob doing this, and it's gonna be like, oh man, Rob, no, you can't. It's because all those things what you're doing as an instructor, the next level now is preparing you to maybe open your school, to be an administrator. Because the barbering industry, you're not just, again, you're not just stuck from thinking of just being behind the chair. Being behind the chair is great. Don't let me confuse that with nothing.
It's awesome.
It's awesome.
Yes.
You make some good relationships, some good friends. You make some good money, but we also will need someone to teach the new coming barbers who's coming in too. And the best people for that is some of us who have experience. And sometimes we just need a change of scenery, a change of something, because we've done it for so long, cut hair for so long. Try something else. An instructor is something that's in reach. Because once you see everything from being a student to being a barber, to being an instructor, to being an administrator, now the next jump is maybe you're thinking about opening a school. And now you've seen it from the inside out. You've seen everything from the bottom up. So all that experience is going to add validation to you now thinking about the next step, which is opening the school. And I talk to my students about all those levels: being a barber, being a shop owner, being an instructor, being an administrator. And if you want to open a school, because I think it's important, if you go to any school, if they're not teaching you in all those levels, you're getting held back. But again, some students don't want that, because we know some students just come through just to cut, and that's okay. But we have to prepare them for whatever it may be.
Right.
Trichology. study disease of the scalp. If you want to do that, that's a possibility. Instructor, school owner, shop owner.
I mean, well, now they even got it where you can like the guy at the show. He had a tattoo. His hair was tattooed on, and he said he paid $5,000 for that, and
Yeah.
said that guy did 4 of those that day. So there's like I said, there's all types of levels of this, and
So much.
yeah. So you got to kind of get that through the student's head about being an instructor and maybe tattooing hairlines on for 5,000. I mean, yeah.
The possibility is
It's all
limitless.
kind of stuff
Yeah.
out there now.
So this podcast today is just to kind of get you thinking on another level, because the theory, the schooling part is so important, and we have too many students not taking it serious, and all they do is work on their strength. Or I can post a fade, I can show a fade all day. You're good at that. Now what's next?
I come to realize that I thought I was retiring after 20 years from cutting hair, but I'm really not retiring. I'm just going to the next level, doing something different. But I'm still behind the chair. I'm still showing different things. So
I would equate it to going to like 4 years of college, and then after college you get your grad degree,
right,
and then you can get your PhD,
right,
and then you can move on to something else.
right.
You in barber school, that's your 4 years. That's your undergrad. Your instructor license is your grad degree.
Right.
And then whatever you may choose to do after that, that's the PhD level. If you open a school, go into some type of administrative role, do something different, your education is not stopping, it's going.